Hey, this is Malcolm All Out here. We're back with you here at the 18th Annual Sterling Conference. And of course, it's held here at the beautiful JW Marriott, Grand Lakes, Orlando. If you haven't been out to this complex, guys, it is amazing. The JW Marriott sits right across from the Ritz-Carlton, the RC as we affectionately call it. And both of these establishments make a humongous paradise here in the center of Florida. What is most intriguing, I find out here with the children, is the lazy river, which is what everybody talks about. Let me introduce you to Jim Burns.
Malcolm.
Jim, good to have you with me, brother.
Thank you. Great to be here.
Jim is in charge of all of this. He is Vice President General Manager, and he is in charge of all of this here at the JW Marriott and the Ritz-Carlton. It all falls under Mr. Jim. Now, Jim, you started here. We were talking a little bit earlier. I want to start with you started with the JW Marriott brand here at Grand Lakes, what, 4 years ago?
3 years ago, January 07.
Okay. But you've been with the chain for a while.
Almost 30 years.
Wow. God bless you.
Started when I was 10.
Couldn't hold a job. So, 30 years.
Almost 30, September 7th.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, all right, so you're here 3 years, and then all of a sudden you get the nod, which I found out just recently. I didn't know this when I'd met you the first time, so I apologize. I should have known that. But you had got the nod to also get the Ritz-Carlton under your tenure, yeah?
Right. Well, this complex has always had a vice president managing director that oversees both properties with GMs in both properties that report up through the vice president managing director. So
right.
Since January of this year, that's been my new role.
That's a huge step. I mean, your responsibility not only doubles, but it probably triples.
Yeah, because the complexities of trying to coordinate the synergies between the two brands adds a lot of complexity to the role.
To the mind. Yes. I mean, I thought of that when I heard that. I said, how does he pull that off? You know, I mean, they're two really different sort of brands.
It's very unique.
Yeah, and I walked the long hallway, by the way, yesterday to get to the vineyard.
Quarter of a mile.
Someone said it's a mile. I said, well, I'm up for it. Let's go. I felt like
not quite that far. Not quite that
someone
far.
said it was a mile. I said, a mile?
No, it's a quarter of a mile.
Quarter of a mile.
Yeah.
Well, it was a nice walk.
Yeah.
I could even went longer, actually. Right. But sometimes it's good, especially when you're going to have a nice dinner to get that walk in, right?
Yep.
So it's very, very cool. Well, I have to tell you, my friend, I want to start with this here. This is the 18th Annual Sterling Conference, and it has been absolutely amazing. And I know John Piano and Dion Geiger keep coming back for more.
Right.
And the entire Sterling Conference does. And how many years have they been having it here?
This is the 6th year at the JW Marriott.
6 years at this facility.
And they've signed contracts now for at least 2 more.
Yeah.
So.
And I know, not to be a funny guy here, a smart guy, but I know others have been courting them.
Yes, they have.
So, not to be a funny guy, but I do know that.
Well, that's the nature of our business, right? People are trying
so they want to get. So that means you've got to keep the power up there all the time.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, this conference really moves, as you know. This is a different kind of conference, and you know this.
Yes.
Because it's different than most in the way they engage people, and we're talking best practices here.
Yes.
And you yourself have engaged on this. You're actually going through the process, the Sterling criteria. Is that correct?
That's correct. Last year, John invited me to the round table, and because I thought it made sense, he wanted me to sort of engage at a little higher level and see what it was all about. And once I did that, I really did sort of say, you know, this has something for us, too. We can learn a lot from the process.
He wanted you to taste the fruit.
Yes, he did. But, you know, I sort of drank the Kool-Aid with him.
That's what I said earlier, you know?
And we've embarked on the Sterling Challenge process, and we'll complete our application probably about a week from now and submit it. Our site visit's already scheduled for September 14th.
Now, is this for the JW Marriott or the Ritz-Carlton?
For the JW Marriott.
Thank you. I wasn't sure. Okay. And then you would go up for the GSA, the Governor Sterling Award?
Beyond that, once we get the site visit and get the list of opportunities and improvement areas, then we'll use that to make those improvements before we then take on the Governor's Award.
Which would be 2011, maybe?
Yes. I think so.
Willing.
Yeah.
Well, you see, now, my point here with folks, Jim, I want to talk about is here you are, I mean, at the JW Marriott Ritz-Carlton brand, and you're still improving things.
Yes. Yeah. We're always trying to get better. Yeah,
certainly. It's constant state of improvement, isn't it?
It certainly is, yeah. We always say success is a journey, right? It's not a destination.
It really is a journey. Yeah. And those who think it's you're so right. I mean, those who think, I got the success, the complacent mode will kill you.
Yes, it will.
You cannot get complacent in any business.
Yeah.
The hotel business is different because you've got to really achieve, your expectations are huge when people walk in. They want to be treated well.
Well, especially in brands like JW Marriott and Ritz-Carlton, the expectations are very high.
I don't envy you, I got to tell you that. And I know if I was in your role as well, you're right, I'd be walking the hallways, making sure and shining shoes, and are we here, are we doing it? That's what it's about.
Yes, it is. Our business is a lot of details.
Detail, you took the word out of my mouth, it's details.
Yes, it is, yeah.
Everything in life is about details, I find, Jim, no matter what business model you're in.
I think you're right.
And I find in all business sectors that is the key. I want to tell you about a detail earlier that happened on the spot here, which you might appreciate. A gentleman came up here yesterday to the side here, and it was a Bellman who offered, he's seen us. Now, this is on his own deal. He's seen the fact that we were lugging the equipment in and out of here all the time to the room. And he thought, he took it upon himself and thought, you know, I got a place I can put this for you, which I had actually mentioned to the crew earlier. It would be nice if we had that close by here. And he said, you know, could I help you with this and put this here and we can bring it back in the morning for you, no problem. He offered that. And I was flabbergasted, and I went over and I see them talking. I said, what's that? I said, well, we're going to put, well, what a cool idea. Yeah, I mentioned that. And so I went over to say, and the production team was happy because they didn't have to lug it all the way up. So I went over, I don't catch everything, but I happened to catch the glimpse of that. I went over to shake his hand. His name is Glenn.
Yeah, Glenn's a good friend of mine.
So
I know Glenn.
So I told him I was going to tell Jim Burns on the camera. I want to tell you beforehand.
Well, you know, that's the secret to great customer service is hiring right. We always like to say, you can't train friendly.
Right.
You can't train a smile. You can't train graciousness and warmth.
It's genuine.
It has to be part of who you are.
Yeah.
So if you're going to be successful, you've got to have hiring practices that help to discriminate and get those kind of people.
Right, right. You have a term you call problem resolution.
Yes.
Which is if anything doesn't go quite the way it should.
Right, yeah. We really focus a lot on that because we talk about human beings, we're going to make errors. People are going to make mistakes, particularly with our business. We're very complex with lots of moving parts.
Right.
But often what defines your success is how you handle those. And we have a process around problem resolution. We call it the LEARN process. That's an acronym we use. It means listen, empathize, apologize, respond, and notify. So those are the steps we teach our people to do. You own the problem, you listen, you apologize, you respond, take action, you notify so we get the learning of what happened, and then from there you continue to follow the loop of improvement.
Absolutely love it. And the fact that I've always said you can take any problem or challenge and create an opportunity out of it.
Yes.
That's what you guys are doing with this problem resolution.
Yeah, often the level of satisfaction this is kind of funny and counterintuitive, but is higher for people who have had a problem than for people who haven't, because there's emotional connection occurs.
It's a blessing, because you can change that into a huge opportunity, man, but people don't get that.
Yeah.
I see a lot of people in the office panic. Something happened, something didn't go right, so on and so forth. But I think that's an opportunity.
Absolutely.
Jump on it, man.
Right, yeah, take it with an aggressive approach, and you have a great chance of creating a customer for life.
If we could get people to realize that, how cool would that be?
Yeah.
You know, how cool would that be across the board?
Yep.
Well, you're doing it well here. This brand and what you've created here is absolutely incredible. When you're doing this at this level real quickly, some of the main pitfalls that when you're a large program like this, you have the amount of employees, how do you keep them revved? How do you keep them up for the challenge every day?
Well, we do a lot of training that's ongoing. We do service excellence training. Everybody has to be recertified in that every year. Every year. In both hotels, we do what we call daily rehearsals, where we bring our team together before every shift. Their manager talks to them about what's happening that day, talks about issues, problems that we need to resolve, tools and equipment they may need to do their job, so that we're ready for the shift. So people are focused, they understand what's expected, and we take on the day. And the next day we do it again and talk about the day before and the successes, and then we talk about what we need to do the next day.
So even at this level, they're doing the quick huddles, huddles where you bring it all together. I like that.
Yeah.
That's a huddle.
Yes.
Have a quick huddle, figure it out. I always say, let's just debrief a moment, please. Let's get our mind together and figure out what we're doing.
Yeah, and that keeps people energized. And of course, we have a great program for our associates for recognition, for reward, for how we treat them is very much a part of our culture. So that's a big part of it.
When people want to discover this brand, what website do they go to? Just the general one, or is there one to...
Marriott.com.
Then just Grand Lakes.
And Grand Lakes. And we also have a grandlakes.com website, which will take you right to this specific complex. So you can get there directly or through the Marriott.com site.
So now let me tell you, when you say Grand Lakes versus Grand Lakes, that's what I've been calling it. Grand Lakes, man.
I have to change my vocabulary.
It's Grand Lakes.
Yeah.
It's big.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Jim Burns, God bless you.
Great. Thank you so
for
much.
all your help here.
My pleasure.
Jim Burns, Vice President, General Manager. It's Malcolm Out Loud. Remember always, get involved, get loud.